All right, episode 156. What does pickleball and real estate and listings that sell have in common? Who knows? But you're about to find out right now.
We're going to find out too.
All right, episode 156. Today we are talking about the pickleball event that we just had last Friday, and what does that have to do with real estate. And we do want to go into how to get listings that are sitting. How do we get them sold, right? And how do we put some commission checks in our pockets?
That is a hot topic.
So we can play more pickleball.
Yes, you sell more houses, more commission checks leads to being able to afford more cool pickleball items. Because it's definitely an addicting sport. I bet you it's...
Bro, I was sweating like crazy.
I might piss somebody off with this, but if we're calling fishing a sport, pickleball is 100% a sport.
Exactly.
I guarantee you pickleball is in the Olympics next time.
Oh, yes, for sure.
It's got to be.
I'd watch.
Yeah, it's better than... What would it be better than watching?
Curling.
I can watch curling.
No, first of all, curling's in the winter, so are they playing pickleball during the winter?
Olympic
Ooh,
walking.
that'd be cool. They just hit snowballs at each other.
I don't even know what they have now. They've added so much stuff. What is that winter one they do where you got to like walk on the skis and then lay down and shoot?
Oh,
and then,
like the
do
biathlon?
Yeah, I'm out on that every time.
I'll be honest with you. I understand.
It's super hard though.
This is like the most. My hot take would be that the most like Olympic-ish sport is actually the most boring. Like I think it's amazing that you can run 100 meters really fast. I just don't care to watch.
Wait.
What
was this? I was not listening. I was young.
I'm talking about what's the most boring Olympic sport.
Yeah.
Like just watching dudes run in a straight line for 100
No,
meters.
that's fine.
Oh, so fast.
that's
dude.
awesome.
I know.
You're
I
out.
appreciate.
Yeah.
I appreciate what it takes. I'm just saying it's
Like
not
the
particularly
10,000 meters
engaging
to
to
me.
watch. Like
Yeah.
it's just,
Facebook user said
Yeah. Just running
pickleball
in a
is the
straight line.
fastest growing sport in America.
Fastest
It is.
growing sport
What's
in
the
America.
scariest Olympic sport? Like that you would just straight up not be like, there's no way you're going to give me. Because I've got two.
It's that...
is pole vaulting one?
That's not one of mine, but
No, what's
it is
that
now.
fast down here? And Heather would know this.
The
We watch it.
skeleton?
Oh,
The skeleton,
no,
the slalom on the skis.
Oh.
Like, is that
I think
the...
it's called
Super
giant,
G?
Super G and
Super
giant
G?
slalom.
Holy
Giant slalom.
shit.
Yeah.
Even the name of it is supposed to
Yeah.
super giant slalom.
Yeah,
It's like, I don't
those
know.
dudes are
I don't know how they do it.
flying. To ski jump for sure, I would not.
No,
do.
Ski jump is mine, and then the skeleton thing. Those
Yeah.
dudes are ripping on that stupid luge deal.
I don't want to be morbid and bring up horrible memories, but do you remember the dude in Russia and the skeleton that just flew off the track and died?
I have no doubt that's happened before.
Oh my
Way to
god!
bring that back up.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it was.
I hope his family's not listening.
Yeah.
80 miles an hour
Yeah, no, I'm out.
on the
just
super
nothing.
slalom.
Yeah. Oh, dude, and you've got no padding on, nothing.
When
know
they hit
who-
those nets, they look like just starfishes,
Yeah.
just spinning through the
right,
air. bro.
exactly.
Yeah,
right?
It's crazy. But you know who Brian Force told me that has a super slalom? Michael DeBacker, old Mortgage Mike, and his little super slalom there.
Beautiful
You know,
segue.
Given those super, I can't even do this one. God.
Slaloming right to the closing
Yeah.
table to give the mortgage.
I mean,
stamp
look,
of approval.
super fast. I did find out he did one in 10 days the other day.
Oh, nice.
So he slalomed them right in there. And Mortgage Mike's stamp of approval. So mortgagemikeoftexas.com. Then we've got, once you sell them, you slalom into that house. Then you get them into that home warranty, that armadillo.1/tour. You get them that best home warranty out there. And look, if it's a landlord or a newbie who wants to go and invest in real estate, we're starting to see a ton of people reach out to Dana Wynn over at Homeward DFW. That is, right now we're seeing a lot of people considering wanting to rent their house out, right? So we're getting a lot of those requests for rental analysis.
Yep.
Dana's the perfect one to walk you through that process. She can show you how she's going to be able to get that property rented out, what your cash flow looks like, and the expectations there. So go to homewarddfw.com and just tell them that Brian Force told you to go over there.
If you're calling expireds and cancels every day, especially in the DFW, you will notice that there are a ton of those types of opportunities. Like I think I put 12 nurtures in the database in the past 10 days of people who rented it out instead of selling it, and we'll try and pick them up for Homeward PM on the back end if they keep renting.
Yeah. So that we're seeing a lot of that as well. But Look, it's a funny title. What is pickleball real estate and listings that need to sell, or how to get your listing sold? But last Friday, the Livian DFW and the Good Home team, thanks to Lawyer's Title, Heather Gershon, put this together. Is that she had a pickleball tournament. So we took our teams together. TGHT and Livian, sponsored the bus, and we had all of our agents meet up and. They were, even Stephanie posted about it. Pickleball grows to attract all generations.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we
were playing the other day, and those old people didn't want to have winner. I was like, y'all got winner? And they're like, just leave us alone.
No, they did not. This was, it was Brian and Nate. Yeah. Brian and Nate were really hammering this foursome behind us. And they're like, Brian's like, I got winner. And they're like, look, we're here with these people. And then Nate's like, who's got next? Who's got next? I'm like, dude, Jesse and I are like, leave them alone.
They thought it was 8 a.m. at the Y.
Yeah. Like, they're not here. They're not here to hang out with you guys. Like, they're not running the courts over here.
You guys should do what we did back in college and just take your quarter and put it on the pool table.
Yes.
That way they know.
No,
I thought it was like street ball rules.
You put your paddle down right next to the court
right
there.
next to the net.
I got winner.
Puts her paddles
Don't
in a row.
forget when Nate got into the argument about rules and then tried to turn around and ask the old people
Yeah.
about the rule.
He was asking. I can't remember what it was. Like if line was in or out or whatever, but he got them involved in our argument and all kinds of stuff.
And look, why we're bringing this up is that, we're really talking about, having these networking events. Now we're doing it something around fun, really to help bring that camaraderie together. But we're also bringing two teams that ultimately are competitors with each other. But we're also talking shop. Right, so this gives them an opportunity to see, what's going on in this marketplace, what's working for people, what are they willing to share, and it just gives ultimately it improves the real estate community.
I think so, 100%. Like at its core, maybe this is where we're going to take this episode. Is I heard something at a panel that I was listening to the other day, like that really really resonated with me, like. And the quote was that we're switching from a service-based industry to a skills-based industry or market, right? Like, and that actually really resonated with me because the reality is, yes, like when you are like when prices are going up, everybody's looking to buy a house. They'll make whatever offer you tell them to, whatever. Like you're in a service-based market. All you need to do is what your clients tell you to do, essentially, and you're going to sell a lot of houses because that's just the way of the nature of the market, right? In this particular market, as things have shifted, it's very much a skills-based market, right? Like, and you need to be able to have quality conversations with people, and I think that where I'm bringing that back to is like, being elbow to elbow and really having a lot of interaction with people that are growing their businesses alongside and parallel to yours, like you have no idea how much that improves your ability to have quality conversations and improves your skills as an operator. And so I think it's really, really important that we do those types of things.
Well, so Kelderman and I last week on episode 155, when you were down at Mega Camp, Brian, just partying it up and leaving us behind. We had Justin Nelson on, and Justin talked more about, really about the leverage and where are some of the flaws that real estate agents are having, especially in the shifting markets. But something that I had heard that was shared in one of the mastermind groups that I was a part of, and it says it's time to be a skillionaire.
Ooh.
Right? And they said to give credit, and I'm daisy chaining this term right now, is that I heard it from somebody that said they heard it from Haas Pratt.
Oh, okay.
Right, and so if I'm going to give credit where we believe credit is due, is so Haas, I believe, came up with that.
Friend of the show.
But to become a skillionaire in this market, over the last 2 years, you didn't need skill, right? You could list a dog turd and it would sell for multiple offers, and now we're seeing homes sit on the market. Now we're seeing homeowners who, especially in the expireds or canceled, either considering renting their house, which could be good. That could be definitely an option if they're wanting to build that portfolio. But, if I'm going to take somebody down the path of that, especially Kelderman who's making these calls, is that I'm going to be like, look, do you plan on building out your rental portfolio even more? Most of the time, they don't have a desire, right? They're wanting to do this right now because they think that's the right move, and they're wanting to wait for the market to improve.
Yeah.
And I said, guys, like, we just came out of the unicorn market.
Yeah.
Like no one is, Gary said it even on stage, that this is the most confusing real estate market that he's ever been in, and he's been in a lot of them.
Yep.
And that's echoed, that sentiment out there is echoing many of the gray-haired, the white-haired people that have done really, really, really well in this industry. So I'm like, well, what are you waiting on? Because if you go and rent this property out, now that becomes a taxable liability to you in the future, that if you were to sell now and still strategically price it correctly, you're going to still come out ahead. Yep. And it's tax-free.
Yep, 100%.
So not many real estate agents know that, by the way. They still, so you want to come down and rent it out? Well, let me chat about that. But they don't take them down that path because they're not skilling up. Yep. They have no desire to go back. They graduated school. They've got their real estate diploma that's hanging on the fridge, and like, nope, no more learning unless it's CE. And then I'm doing the easiest CE out there that I can get through it, right? And so they're not going deep enough to again, you've heard it so many times before, is that they're not going to really match the market's message.
Yep.
To go and say, all right, this is what, Matt just said it. Matt says, you're calling expires and cancels. You're running across a lot of people that are considering or have already rented their property out without really going down and exploring the path of what is that repercussion? What's the ripple effect on that over the next 5 years for them?
Yep, 100%. And it just comes like to bring this back, just the idea of being more skilled. This is something I've been talking about for a while now, right? In a changing market. And by the way, like look at it objectively, like, days on market are still pretty normal, just historically, right? Rates, pretty normal. Inventory levels, pretty normal, right? Like the idea, we have this thing as a society where we get really, really spoiled with what's happening right now. And so when people are like, I'm going to wait for the market to improve, it's like, what are you talking about, right? But not being able to have those conversations is obviously a massive hindrance, right? But I've been talking about this for a while, right? Like the idea of having more conversations, having better conversations. And I think one of the things that, we have an opportunity in this market with is so many people are putting their homes on the market or going and looking for homes with unrealistic expectations. And the reality is, like, the motivation for that, like, people sell to move on to the next chapter of their life. Like, very few people sell a homestead because of the economic implications or the environment, right? Like, if people love their home, just because it becomes worth more, they're not going to sell it unless they sell because they, their job, their family dynamic, whatever, it changes, right? And so we have a lot of agents who are just fighting for listings right now, over-promising and under-delivering, and then your opportunity becomes when that, relationship, for whatever reason, dissolves. If you're able to have better conversations because you're a more skilled agent, you have a massive opportunity in this market right now. Just a massive opportunity.
When you were talking about things being the same before you even got to the part about the agents, the first thing that popped in my mind was the one thing that isn't pretty much normal is the real estate agents' conversation around this stuff, right? Yeah. It's either agents who have been in it for a couple of years and just haven't had the opportunity to see a different market, which that's always a large segment of real estate agents, the new 24-month-old type real estate agents, right? Or real estate agents who have been at it for a while and really did sink into the ease of this previous market. And now as we're coming out of that, some agents may have forgotten some shit, right? And that's the thing that I think is a little bit different is that, and I want to get to actual solutions too, because I hear Nick say things like learning and skilling themselves up and understanding these conversations. It's not as important as reading books. And you can literally sign up on Keeping Current Matters and get an email every day that will give you a data point that if you actually take 2 seconds to read their 3-paragraph article, you will sound way smarter in the living room than you currently do.
Exactly.
Right? It's not like you have to go out and get a whole other degree in real estating, right? Like this stuff will show up to your inbox every single morning, and you can just take that out into the world with you and be better at your job.
But and look, the reason why we titled Pickleball, obviously, there's nothing. Pickleball and real estate have no correlation together. It's more about the networking events because, what we're seeing now is we're seeing it with the shift in market and a lot of these average, if we were to poll the average real estate agent, a lot of them are going to be in the business less than 5 years. Yeah. And so they've not been through this. The other thing is that we're seeing agents that are at virtual brokerage or smaller wanting to go to a brick and mortar right now, because and these brick and mortar team leaders, they're all guilty of it, and they're all lying, by the way. So I'm going to call every single one of you out on this shit. Is that they're like, oh, come rub elbows. Agents are in the office since COVID, and now coming out of it. I go into a lot of real estate offices. It's dead. And the problem is, like, when we all were coming up in this industry, is that the real estate brick and mortar office, for sure, was the place to go. The sales meetings. There was the running into each other in the
across
hallway.
this parking lot.
Yes.
That was exactly like that.
100%.
We used to have like 85 people in there for a sales meeting, like every week.
And I'm telling you, it's not there anymore. And the ones that are, if they are there, they're not selling anything. So now you're rubbing elbows with people that are trying to do the same thing. And now you're just having this talk with someone who doesn't know what they're doing. You don't know what you're doing, and now you're getting nowhere. And so ultimately, the main thing that we're talking about on this is going to networking events. Putting on network. This pickleball event that Lawyers Title put on, it's now, I'm going to put it into the vendor's court as well. It's now the vendor's job, because the world has changed. The majority of people are not coming back in the office. There's going to be, they've already said they don't want to do it. So now it's the vendor's job to put something special on that's going to pull in the right producers, so that everyone can mingle together, so that we can learn and how to skill up. Because how many times have we talked in the hallway when I was at the old Keller Williams DPR office? We would sit there for 20 minutes, talk a little shop outside the sales meeting room, out by the bathroom, and it was like, this is what I'm feeling. What are you feeling?
If we had 1,000 people watching this, we would get everything that you see in everything that you see in the comment section of Facebook groups when somebody says, "I work from home" or "I work from the office." Everybody's going to disagree, right? I will just use our two teams as an example, right? I think for the most part, when we're talking about that middling ground, the agents who do come to the office do put up more deals. And maybe it's not because they're coming to the office. Maybe it's because they're just getting juice from other people. Maybe it's because they're not sitting in their own mindset, talking themselves out of stuff like one does when they're at home and the washing machine goes off or whatever else, right? Like, I'm not necessarily saying that, like, you have to be in an office to be successful. I also think that you're going to have a lot better chance of being successful if you're around other people doing stuff than you are sitting at home telling yourself you can't do it over and over again.
So I think you're explaining the difference between a team and an individual agent
and that's
a brokerage,
right? And I 100% am.
Doesn't need to be, though, right? Like, so I would actually, I agree 100%. I'd actually add to that, right? Like, if you're saying like the agents that come to the office and work from an office are higher producers, I think the caveat to that is, like, the highest producers aren't even in the office because they're out on appointments. So the reality is, it's like the opposite. Like, really, it's the agents that don't work from home all day. And there is something about that, right? Like, think about this. Like, yes, COVID changed a lot of things. I get that. There was a reason that offices existed in the first place. You have a fundamentally different mindset when you surround yourself with people who are striving to achieve similar things that you are, right? Like, guys, like, Kelderman is actually the exception to the rule. He's like one of the only dudes I know that has a home gym that actually uses it on a regular basis. Because there's a reason gyms exist. Like, am I wrong? Like, anybody can go run outside, do push-ups, and buy a squat rack. The reason that gyms exist is, yes, they're nice facilities, all that type of stuff. It's because when you go to the gym, you're more inclined to exercise. You don't go to drink milkshakes, right? Like, it's kind of the same thing as going to the office.
You go to Lifetime, maybe.
I will tell you, I can't even take full credit for that, because that home gym is a perfect example of how even that gets sideways. Victoria hurt her back. She couldn't really do the normal workouts we do for 2 weeks. You know how many times I worked out in that 2 weeks? Once. And it was the day I got the squat rack, and I was like, I got to use this bitch.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and so, like, even in that scenario, somebody else. I talked to an agent who just joined our office in the hall. It was me and Ben Baker talking, and what she said exactly was that just being at home doesn't work.
It doesn't
for her specifically.
That's actually a great example of, like, being at the gym is like, I literally texted my wife at 5:45 in the morning from the gym. She was in the locker room. This was like 2 days ago on Monday, I think. And I was like, I'm tired. Can we just go home? And she was like, we're already here. And I was like,
You're right.
All right. So it worked out. Like, but if I was at home and I said that, I would have been like, no, go back.
I do like what you're saying, though, because I had not thought about I am talking about teams. Now, I'm not saying there's not agents in this brokerage and agents in another brokerage who are individuals who fulfill all their goals and all that. I'm not saying that at all. But I as you sat here and said that, all the examples I can think of are small, nimble teams, right? Stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. And so ultimately now, in order to get that, because you're right, it's teams, and there's always the ones that you said just join the office, so they come in here, and then they realize that people aren't here, by the way. Like there's always exceptions to this rule. There's always the staple people that are here every single day, and that's that's a small that's the small percentage versus the majority percentage. And so ultimately, this is where I put it on the vendors. I put it on the vendors and I put it on the team owners, like what Brian and I are doing, of getting with Heather, and Heather saying, "Hey, let's do this."
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for sending us business.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Brian and I saying, "Okay, we're gonna put some skin in the game. We're not gonna have everyone drive."
Right.
So then we sponsor the bus. But I mean, look. Like Heather and the lawyers didn't have to do that.
No.
She didn't have to also bring it together for both of our teams, even though we're all really close.
Yep.
And it would have been cool even if she added some other people in there. Yeah. Like they're talking about doing the same event for a holiday tournament event. Ooh. And a good friend of ours, Jason Otts, runs his business, his sphere around pickleball tournaments.
Yep.
And so ultimately, it's big decisions happen at big events, and ultimately, if you're going to a networking event that's surrounded by fun, and your vendors are putting it on, number one, if I'm a vendor, I'm listening to this. Like, there's a reason why Theron sponsors this show. Yep. I mean, while we joke around, there's business to be had, because ultimately, if we're out here saying Armadillo is the best home warranty company because, one, you get to pick your damn contractor, and they get paid the same day. You get reimbursed the same day on for the most part.
Yep.
Then ultimately, there's a reason why Theron's getting in front of it, because of this show reach here in the Dallas-Fort Worth
And by the
area.
way, thinking about that, he's actually having a record month. I know as this morning he was 1 home warranty away. So if you haven't tried him yet and you want to, shoot him over and help him break his own personal record.
Yeah, Armadillo.1 back.
You got until the end of business.
Yeah. So look, we can all get better at this. We can all improve of making a commitment, because like when Brian and I, maybe we all felt this way of networking events pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. I kind of looked at it as like, these are the agents that are just, one, either maybe they're unhappy in their home life and they don't want to go home yet, or two, they're here for the free food and free drink.
Right.
And now I see it as a way that, if done correctly and presented correctly, this is a way to come and rub elbows. This is kind of the replacing the brokerage model, where people were coming in the office a lot more. And ultimately, this is a portion that you get to come and learn from your colleagues. I mean, we know people at other brokerages. The only way that we knew them is through what?
Just events,
real producers. The Real Producers events. It's through going to
stuff.
D Magazine. It's going to even the big brokerage events like Family Reunion, EXPCon, Mega Camp, Shareholders. It's going to Tom Ferry, everything else like that.
Yeah.
We get to know these people through events, which is the networking, and that's us skilling up.
That's super true. That is super true. Wow. That is an interesting thing to think about, that like if brokerages don't get people into the office, and vendors and even agents like us get people together, like, man, I wonder what the future of
new brokerage?
No, I don't know. I just was wondering what the future of the brokerage model is. I don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces in the real estate
Episode
business
157.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces in the business right
well,
now.
Glenn and Gary on, they'll come in here and tell us what they see.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to have them both on at the same time.
That would, I think, we would break the real estate side of the internet.
Look, I think that would beat them going on Inman with Brad. Or
yeah,
whatever.
right.
Trash. Yeah.
Can't even read those articles. Take down this paywall.
I know. Yeah. Am I the only one that doesn't get to read Inman because I'm too cheap to subscribe?
Mr.
I'm the same
Inman,
way.
You just got to
take down this paywall.
Yeah. So let's with that. So if we can marry this too, and then go into listings that sell, or getting listings to sell, especially right now. One, I'd be having that conversation at the networking events, right?
That's actually like how we're going. This is you just learn so much from being around people that are going through similar things and trying to achieve the same outcomes, right?
Yeah, and so again, vendors. This should actually be now a vendor show today. Real estate agents get to listen in, be the fly on the wall, but vendors, you should be putting this event together on on listings that sell and promoting the shit out of this, because ultimately, the days of getting a listing and getting a guaranteed check is not happening anymore. I mean, there's a reason. Like, if you saw my post, I don't post a lot of the stuff I sell anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So I posted one, I think, on Monday.
Yeah, I saw that. It was closing. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was at a closing, and it was Miss Betty. Miss Betty was referred to me by some good friends that I met through. It was Austin's best friend.
Oh, wow.
Andy and Courtney Dunn.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
Andy Dunn he's in the contracting business. I'm going to give him a little shout out on here. Is he would not be in the contracting business if it weren't for AG.
Sure.
Having his record this month was his record month. Over
good
6
for
figures.
him.
Nice, congrats.
6 figures record
Dang.
month.
Good
and
for
so,
him.
super proud of him. But
His wife makes these amazing stuffed bell peppers.
Does she?
Bell peppers is a big part of my life. So.
so from that, I don't even know where I was going with that now.
We're talking about vendors.
You had a closing.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a closing, and so in that is Miss Betty. They wanted to list it higher, and so I walked them through the process. Of course, Miss Betty was going into a retirement community, and she needed every dollar, and absolutely, just like the majority of people. And in there was already homes that were starting to sit in that neighborhood, in that city, and so ultimately I walked them through the process. She listened. And we sold that home for 5% over asking price.
Whoa.
when other homes were still sitting on the market at the
What?
same time. And so, look, if you can get in front of your client and show them the path and be reasonable, that's what's going to get listings to sell.
100%.
But if you go and say, right now on expires and cancels, where we're talking a lot of those as well, they still want to start higher than what, even higher than what they were when they are on the market.
Yep, a lot of them, dude.
I think there's a couple of things when you're talking about, especially if we're talking about the sellers that aren't coming to you through referrals, where you're maybe not battling as much and they're a little bit more pliable. But when you're talking about expires and cancels, there are two types of people. There are people who are like, screw you, real estate agents are wrong. I'm going to go harder in the paint now and dunk on everybody.
Yeah.
Or there are the people who are like, I still need to get sold. Will you just please freaking help me?
Yep.
Like, I've had people do exactly what Nick's talking about. I have other people like reduce their price by 15%.
Yes.
Because they have a legitimate interest in selling. And I think that's the part of this isn't going to shock anybody, but allowing the clients to still take the reins on the conversation and the decision making around how much the home should be priced for. Like, we can go on the comment section and say, I'm not the one really selling the home and it's not my decision. You're an advisor.
Yeah.
If your whole stance is it's not my decision, then get out of the way and let the rest of us do our jobs, please.
That
Right?
is super true.
You're 100% an advisor, and they're going to take your advice. And if you can't have those types of fierce conversations with them around pricing or around price adjustments, maybe once the market didn't react the way you need it to, or things they might need to do in the home, and when they ask you those direct questions, that's really what, when you guys talk about, what was the word you guys were using, skill amazing? Or
Skillionaire.
Skill amazing. Anyway, like, that's really, that is what that is. It's taking, you haven't had to do that for a couple of years. I've even fallen into that trap. You haven't had to have tough conversations with people for a while, for the most part. And now it seems like all at once, all you're having is difficult conversations. Because buyers want to wait for prices to go down more, and sellers want to wait for prices to go up, and nobody's looking at the fact that their home's worth 30% more than it was of January of 2021.
Yeah, it's funny how quickly amnesia happens.
Real quick.
Right? And it's funny how it's happening on both sides of the fence, right? So buyers saying pricing's too high, and then you start to see pricing level off and come down in certain areas, and now they forget about that. They don't even bring that up. They bring out interest rates are too high, and then the sellers are like, no, the market's shit, so we're going to wait for the market to improve. And I'm like, well, that was 6 months ago, so why didn't you sell 6 months ago then? And by the way, the market, like, it was just an out of control fire. Now it's a controlled bonfire, which is still really, really good.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I don't understand. For some reason, I can't understand the average person's thought process around this, because my logic brain in this is like, guys, we just, like, everyone's been talking about this. It's been on the news.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is not out there in the mass media.
Oh, I think that's a really good point. Is people listen to the news too much? There's another good kind of takeaway that has, like, if you, Matt just said this a second ago, like, if you're not, like, if you're like, oh, it's not, my home to sell it. Like, you're an advisor. You need to be the chief economist for your clients, right? Like, you guys understand that all of the information, think about this. If the news didn't exist, people would have an entirely different viewpoint of the real estate market, or they would have no viewpoint at all. They literally get most of their information, almost all of their information and opinions, from a source that is by design trying to tell them the scariest things all the time. Can you imagine getting all of your all of your advice on life from like a demon or a witch? Like that's, you know what I mean? Just like somebody who's supposed to be a scary thing all the time. That's legitimately how you have to like imagine where the viewpoints and the mindset of your clients come from. And so like, I don't want to dive into like a big scripting thing in the last 15 minutes of this podcast, but understand this. Your ability to grow your business, and I do mean grow, because I said this at team meeting yesterday, and I'll say it again. 2023 will be an already productive agent's best year. It just will be, because they'll lose fewer deals to agents that aren't really qualified to advise people at a very high level. And they'll lose no deals to agents that just stop really lead generating or trying in the first place. And that sounds morbid, I get that, but that is also the 100% truth about industry shifts, not just real estate, but in general, right? Like, but your ability to grow your business moving forward through this next part of the economic cycle is directly related to your ability to give quality advice and have quality conversations with people that get their advice and their opinions from inaccurate and overblown and sensationalized sources. It's just the truth. Guess who's still buying houses right now? These guys, right? There's like it's never a bad time to buy or sell real estate at the right price and with the right motivation. And Matt made a really good point before. Like, your ability to get deals done and to grow your business in this environment is directly related to your ability to get a person who gets their opinions from the news to realize that even if they sell their home for less than their asking price, they have a huge buildup of equity over the last 2 years. They're coming out miles ahead. We basically just took 10 years worth of appreciation and condensed it into 24 months. And now everybody's upset that their home isn't worth as much as it was 3 months ago. And it's like, it's worth a hell of a lot more than it was 2 years ago. And I get it that like people like, like my logic brain doesn't work that, and mine either. And that is where the disconnect is. Your ability to just get skilled in having those conversations. That's actually what trusted advisors do. There's a reason that people have like trusted advisors in any regard, like a lawyer. The lawyer is going to be like, hey, you can't go in and fucking say that to a judge. That's why I'm here. Like, I know that you're right about your case, but we have to play this with some tact, right? Like a financial advisor is like, no, you can't put all your money in Dogecoin. That's why I'm here. Like, stop doing that, right? Like the same with real estate. You're supposed to be an advisor of the market and help people overcome the objections that they've built up in their mind by listening to inadequate sources of information.
So I like it all. I'm just thinking, you're using the advisor side of it, and agents should take that to heart, but they're not an advisor.
I think they're just getting frustrated too.
Well, they can be frustrated all the way up because they're frustrated. They're frustrated at their own inactivity, right? So there was, and I'm going to butcher this right now. I meant to pull it up, but don't be upset with with the result. Don't be upset with the work that you didn't do, basically. So
there's like, don't be upset with the results from the work that you didn't do.
Yes.
Oh, that's like a tattoo.
Yes,
that's
right?
Amazing.
And so from that,
no regrets.
Yes, no regrets on that. But from that is you talk about the advisor, but they're not, like, people aren't going home and studying the market. They're not going the extra mile. And then ultimately when they're having these conversations with they do a little bit of lead gen because that's what we're told to do. And when someone's like, oh, prices are too high, or I'm going to wait for the market to get better, then from that angle, they're like, okay. And they don't go and like, I want to come from questions. I want to get to an understanding of what does that mean to you? So when the market gets better, like, what does that look like? Because is that the market could be better tomorrow? Like, in essence, like, are you like interest rates?
Interest rates. Tomorrow, the market's already better.
Exactly. And so the problem is we're too quick to discount or jump off the phone or to stop a conversation, because maybe this is my belief is that from people that they don't want to feel like they're pushing someone or bothering them or maybe insulting them.
Well, you don't earn the. I agree with you, because you're saying like they're not. Most agents don't earn the opportunity to be advisors because they don't get far enough into relationships with their clients, because they don't ask enough good questions. They don't have quality conversations, and they don't put any. Yes, and guys, I know that this is just this is going to sound so like weird or whatever to say. In 2016, this wouldn't have sounded weird at all. This would have sounded normal. We are in a sales-based industry. You've got to be good at having conversations with people, right? Like, you've got to be good at asking continuing questions and taking the conversation a layer deeper. Like, it feels weird that I'm even saying that as if it sounds foreign in the real estate business. This is the way it's always been. It just didn't need to be that way the last couple of years because you didn't have any questions to answer. People are just like, how much money do I need to spend? That was the only question you ever had to answer, right? So, like, you need to earn the opportunity to be an advisor. And you said something, just a second ago that really, really resonated with me, and I've been talking about a lot. Like, yeah, we do a little bit of lead gen. The only difference between what your business looked like for the last 2 years and what it could look like for the next 2 years is the same shit you should have already been doing for the last 2 years. If you had spent every day lead generating 3 hours a day, the way that you would come in and do your work if you worked in a corporate job 3 hours a day, 8 hours a day, right? Like, your pipeline would be bursting at the seams right now. I'm not in any way, I've been talking about this for a while now. I'm not in any way and will not at any point insinuate that we need to change what we're doing and change the plan of execution to build and grow a real estate business. You just need to actually execute now. You can't get by without executing every day.
Coach Burt popped up, one of his reels popped up today, and the gist of it is essentially amateurs operate inside their feelings, professionals do not, right? And I think if that resonates with you at all, because it did for me a little bit. Brian and I had a conversation earlier today kind of based on the same thing about something else, but I was like, dude, that's exactly what it is. If this real estate market is making you upset, if you're getting frustrated with your sellers because they're not doing price reductions you're asking them to, or they're asking you too many questions about why their most expensive asset isn't selling, if you find yourself getting in your feelings about that, I just need you to know you're not operating as a professional. Yeah. You're just not. And those are the types of, when we talk about getting listings sold, that is the type of stuff you're going to have to do. You are going to have more conversations with your sellers. You have to be able to answer questions about what you're doing. You have to be able to prove to them that you're doing some kind of marketing on the home, whatever that looks like. Yeah. You have to show them analytics that it's not just your house, it's all the houses in this neighborhood. We're doing exactly what everybody else is doing, right? Like, you're going to be able to have all of those types of conversations that you haven't had for the last couple of years. And if you're just sitting there getting pissed off because Sally Seller is annoyed by the fact that she's testing you on what you said you would do in the listing appointment, you're not operating in professional capacity anymore at all.
That's their emotions going out of control.
Absolutely.
So when we let emotions go out of control, that's not the professional. And what Coach Burt says is it's time to go pro. You're making a commitment to go pro, and going pro would be something like how to understand how to have these conversations without getting emotional about it. And ultimately, Theron commented about on there about our home prices were, are they really what they worth? What it basically says, were they really worth that much 3 months ago? Because you can't realize the value until you actually sell.
That's true.
And your house did not depreciate. So that's something that we've had conversations with when we're actually talking about price adjustments. And someone's like, I'm losing $30,000. I said, no, you never had that money in the first place. But agents feel the same way. Mm-hmm. Because they feel like, one, and I can appreciate this, is they're letting their sellers down. Those are agents that care. And I understand that. They're also thinking it's their house when it's not. It's not their money. And they hired you. You were hired to do two things. One, to get the house sold. And two, to be that neutral party in order to facilitate the sell. Right? And the way that we do it is to bring their emotion sides down. You let them vent. That's okay. That's their job. I tell my people, I said, look, we're the whipping post. Yep. And they need to take out their frustrations. And I'd say, let it out. That's cool. But you didn't lose $30,000 because you never had it in the bank in the first place.
100%.
And so, this is like the stock market. And if you would have sold 6 months ago, look, we would have been having a different story, but we're not. We can't go back in time. And the chances of us going and seeing that previous market are very slim. If I had a crystal ball, I'd be a trillionaire. Not even a billionaire, I'd be a trillionaire on this. And do you want to wait to see if it's going to get worse, or do you want to take advantage of the money that's on the table right now? I'm going to take the money now. And yes. And then ultimately, either invest it or do something with it. And so when you remove the emotion and you don't get emotional about it, the chances are you're putting yourself in that better position to win with your clients.
And they'll appreciate it down the road too, right? Like when you stand there and just listen. If you've ever been in a really uncomfortable situation where two other people are talking and you have to be there and it's an uncomfortable conversation, but it's not your conversation to jump in, right? You just have to sit there and listen to it. Mm-hmm. It is almost the exact same exercise. Your seller just needs to talk it out. You're sitting there. I understand. Yeah, okay. And then you become solutions oriented at the end, right? After they've been able to say everything, you've been able to sift through what is their emotions, what's the actual problem. They are going to appreciate that from you later. And they're going to know that you took them in the right direction. They're going to trust you if you need to make another pivot. Like, look, I don't like to do price adjustments like any real estate agent. We're now in the realm of, if you're still pricing like the house was on the market 4 months ago, you may have be in for 3, 4, 5 price adjustments before you find the bottom of that hill. Oh, yeah. Good luck getting a seller to ride with you through 5 price adjustments.
Yeah.
Right.
But here's the thing: when you have quality conversations and you're able to overcome the emotions of your client, your seller, you realize that, like, even at the bottom of that 5th price adjustment, you're still outpacing the normal 5% historical appreciation from when they bought the house. Like, they're still coming out ahead. We're just not having strong enough conversations on the front end. We're setting unreasonable expectations. That's why so many listings are getting canceled right now.
For sure. Though I'd be careful saying we're outpacing. Like, they don't care about that. They still think they're losing money. So we gotta visualize.
Oh
them
yeah,
at the
don't
end of
say
it, right?
it that way. That's not what I'm saying.
I'd be like, you know what, Brian, F off, dude.
I'm talking more about
analytical
side
Brian
of
just
things.
cost me all. I lost $50,000 on that conversation.
Brian, your commission shall be 0 so I can earn my money back.
You know what? I'm losing money on this, Brian. You definitely reduce your commission, sir.
Oh,
because guess what? That's coming.
Yeah.
That 100%. That objection, hey, you want to do a price adjustment? Adjust your commission with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you better be prepared to have the right answer, because if not, you're going to be doing a lot more work for a lot less money.
Ooh. And here's the thing is, I don't think the right answer is some scripted response either. You've really got to understand. I mean, there is, and I also think you've got to understand exactly where your seller's irritation is coming from, where that money fear is coming from, that desire to have you come take a punch in the stomach as well as I do, right? Like that whole conversation. I think you're going to see it, especially for the next few months until we get into the spring market. Is everybody hearing about the spring market again? I hadn't heard of this spring market for a while. When everybody's waiting for spring again.
It's about that time. It's gonna be September 1st tomorrow. So this is the official time when hey, we're waiting until spring is the objection of choice.
That's cool, because then that means my December is going to be amazing.
That's exactly what that means.
Yes, that means all the agents that are waiting for spring market, I'll take that, and I'll have a great holiday.
Exactly the same.
All right, so what are we picking here?
You can pick 3 companions during the zombie apocalypse. What would be their professions?
Ooh, I actually kind of like that one.
I do too. We need somebody who can heal people. We need a healer.
I don't know. Wait,
I thought you can't heal people from a zombie bite.
Nah, we just need regular medicine.
Oh, just regular. Yeah, you're gonna get hurt.
People who know how to clean things and like tourniquets and stuff.
All right, so the question is, you can pick 3 companions during the zombie apocalypse, right? So
you gotta have a medical person, right?
So what would be their professions?
If this is basing off what my skill set is and how I'm building this team for myself, I need 3 people to do pretty much everything else. Because
I need someone who can grow.
So being a high I doesn't mean shit to zombies.
I need the medical person. I need someone who understands horticulture.
Yep,
so I need someone who can go grow.
Oh yeah, I need like food and stuff.
And then the last person is someone who knows how to make weapons out of just random objects.
Isn't that some kind of
MacGyver?
Because I picture that person. I need the person who can figure out how to get the water from where it is to where we are. The person who can figure out how to give us some semblance of maybe electricity or something. Like maybe not phone electricity, but how do we use some batteries for some shit?
Yeah.
I feel like that person would also know how to make weapons. But I figure we can just go jack swords.
I gotta disagree. I just don't think a scientist is going to be useful at that point. We're already so far.
I'm not trying to heal.
We're so far gone. We just got to accept that the science has beat us.
I'm not trying to fix the zombies. I'm just trying to live.
I definitely want a guy that can just get me. Okay, so like that. Like I'm a dude that like if you stranded me on a desert island, I'd be dead within an hour. I just don't know how to make stuff like that work. Like I don't know how to get
Brian
the water.
did one time say if he was trapped in a foreign country lost, he'd like to be there with me. I was like, we're in deep shit.
I do remember that.
No, he just wants to have fun with it.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going with this too. It's like I
going to
definitely
jail.
want the dude who can figure out how to get like clean water and food or stuff, like a killer. That's a profession.
Killer,
like that.
maker, doctor.
What are we making in our
like
cookies.
I want Okay, a builder, farmer.
Ooh.
Farmer might be good, but they've got to be like, you got to have time. You got to have time for the crops and stuff.
That's Nick's horticulturalist. I think we got to have.
No,
that
I think
person.
I think you have to have that.
Yeah, I think
because that's
that's
your
true.
long-term sustainability. Like,
Oh yeah, we're thinking long term. I definitely
Yeah.
want at least. I would want some dude. I think I'd want a guy who would help
Me
me
and Tanner are the
with
best about the
water. I definitely want somebody who's like an efficient, operator when it comes to like weaponry and stuff. Then I probably just want like a stand-up comedian or something. Like just somebody to keep me in a good mood all the time.
Oh, wait.
My,
Is this
my
the-
court jester.
Yeah, I just want
Entertain
somebody
me.
to bullshit around with, dude. Here's the deal.
Jesse, is
like,
this Brian's billionaire idea?
guys, this is what I want you to understand about a zombie apocalypse. Okay, if you
And now, Brian Force's billionaire movie something.
He's been waiting to bring that out for 2.5 years.
If you've been a friend of the
now.
show for a while, that is a throwback right
All I'm
there.
saying, this is one of the things that I don't think the movies capture about zombie apocalypses, and the reason that you need somebody that you can just BS around with. Like, most of being in a zombie apocalypse is probably doing nothing. Like, if you look at just
It's like an episode of Survivor. You're just trying not to
Yeah.
get sunburned.
Yes, like the United States, just as one country, it's mostly open spaces, and you're not gonna like. If it's a zombie apocalypse, I'm not driving into the city. I'm trying to get away. So I feel like long stretches of time are just gonna be you and the dude who finds the water just talking about whatever. I at least want like it's either a comedian or just like a really well-read Anthony Bourdain style dude that just tells me stuff that I'm like, fucking what? Like, I just want a dude who just keeps me mentally aroused, because I just feel like most of a zombie apocalypse is going to be boring as hell, dude. There's just not going to be a lot going on. It's going to be like, guys, remember when the small map on Call of Duty came out and now we never play the big map anymore? Because that big map is boring as hell. There's just long stretches of time where nothing happens at all, and then all of a sudden you get sniped and you're dead, and you're just like, why do I play this fucking game? This is so stupid.
you turn a corner, there's 75 zombies.
Yes,
you're like,
it's so...
why did I store all this stuff? I'm dead.
Exactly.
now.
You're way more likely to die of boredom in a zombie apocalypse, like, because you get really bored and then you're not on your guard and you get devoured immediately. So maybe I need somebody who's just, I need an insomniac. I don't think that's a profession. I need a guy who's awake all the time. That's a good one. He could just be keeping us alert.
I think they become crazy.
I need like Christian Bale. And
I
the
think that's
Machinist.
worse. I think I'd rather.
Brian just described a meth head.
Yes. yes.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, if there's anybody who kind of understands the
Tweakers kinda look like
psychology of
zombies,
a
so he's
zombie,
like-
it's gonna be a meth head. Exactly. I need a water guy, a meth head, and a dude who's good with guns. I feel like we're gonna survive, guys.
I mean, couldn't the meth head also be the guy who entertains you? I mean, come
Oh
on.
yeah.
yeah, he could serve a dual role.
I'm telling you, you're eating the wrong stuff and you're dead. You got the water guy, and then you're eating the wrong berries.
This is such a that is so true. There's so many variables. I do agree that if it was a zombie apocalypse, I have almost no chance of dying from zombies. I got good foot speed. I think I'm aware enough. I'm gonna die of something else that I don't. I'm gonna die of lack of resources.
Do you think that zombies lose their foot speed? So like if that person was really really fast, like Bolt,
Yeah.
right? So he.
Yeah. That's
So does
true.
is he going to lose a little bit but still be fast and he
I
catches
think it's
you?
the tortoise and the hare. The zombies just don't stop moving. They don't need to sleep.
That is true. I think that's an interesting theory, though, because most people are not fast, but zombies are really fast. But are they really fast for everyone, or does Usain Bolt get faster as a zombie, or does he
First
get
off-
back to his medium zombie
First off,
speed?
I
can't
thought
imagine
zombies
they
were
do.
slower. In the
Well,
movies,
it
they all
depends
were
on
slow.
what
movie
movie
version are we
Yeah,
talking
well,
about?
more modern zombies are faster. Like
Are they?
like
If
Zombieland
zombies are fast, we're
are-
screwed. If zombies are fast, you're screwed.
Have you watched
Yeah.
the new zombie movie with Jamie Foxx on Netflix?
What?
Night Shift, I think it's called.
Oh, that's a zombie movie.
Yes.
I saw the little thing for it, but I didn't
actually
see. I
not
didn't
bad.
watch it.
Not
But,
bad.
like,
I've been picking up some new shows.
Yeah.
What
Not
do
bad.
okay? Let me ask you this: what if you didn't have three people to choose from? What if it was just like three people in your life? We gotta get real honest. You don't have to pick your spouse. I'm gonna pick mine because she scares me in general. I think she'd scare them away. I'm kidding. Like who would be if you had three people that were just like, we're doing this together?
This is the problem. This is the problem with doing like first world shit where you try to make your circle real small.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, if I was just with the four people sitting in this room, I don't think we'd be in really great shape long term.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
I think we'd figure it out. I think we'd scavenge some cans of beans.
So three people total, or 3 more people plus me?
You plus
you.
3.
Okay, so Heather, because she's full of all useless knowledge, so there's got to be something useful in there.
Yeah, you just
Right? And so
years of the Discovery
I
Channel.
hope you're not listening.
no, she would
Get
definitely admit it. That's not an insult.
Get him.
And then probably we don't have to pick our kids, do we? Because they're
I
gonna.
mean, you don't
I would
have
encourage
to.
you not to pick your children.
You're screwed because you can't even take them all.
I think
That's
you need
true.
to just you need
Yeah,
to, you
fucked
can't
up
even
on that
take
one.
all your kids.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna leave
Let's assume
one,
that you don't have kids holding you back.
Okay.
yeah,
Then
they're already zombies.
Then I would let you all 3 fight it out to be the
And whoever,
yeah.
which the 2 that won,
Yep.
that didn't die.
So it'd
then
be
do it that
you,
way.
Brian, and Jesse, and whoever fought to
Whoever
get
loaded
that,
up.
that claimed that final third
That's
spot.
fair.
Because then they're already a winner in my book because they can already fight enough.
Make more kids.
kind of you. I don't
Harvey's not wrong on
I
that.
would say
He's
not
not-
with the
he's
4
not.
of us.
be 100% honest.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We need I'm changing up my hands on this. We need someone in there because we're definitely not able to make more kids.
I was about to say
Well, Heather will be there. No, Heather's going to be there.
You're being very kind. I don't think I was going to pick anybody in this room. The only reason I might pick you is because you have a lot of resources. You got a lot of
Exactly.
guns.
Yes.
Yeah, you just have a lot of weapons.
nothing.
And
right?
we,
don't pick
dude,
weapons
I've been
is
prepping
important.
for this.
I feel like my dad just always has it figured out. Like, I don't know that physically he's the dude. He's in his 60s now, so like I could pick an elite athlete to roll with me. My dad knows where everything is. It seems like all the time.
But no, actually,
He
I'm
always
picking
has-
Diesel.
Yeah,
Because
he always has a great
because
idea.
then we can go steal planes.
yes,
Oof.
that is true.
He's going to tell you what
Yep.
to do, though.
Yeah, we
That's
could
the important
literally
thing.
just live for years, just flying from
How
airport to
quickly-
airport,
Yeah.
stealing more planes.
How quickly does a plane break down, though, when there's not humans maintaining it? I bet you got 6 months of planes working after humans aren't touching them anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I've never thought about how much plane.
I think planes are
maintenance you
super
need.
breaky.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna get my dad. I'm gonna get a plane mechanic. There you go. That he probably
Plane
knows.
Dad knows things he won't tell us.
Exactly.
I have no doubt that's true.
And then I don't.
The awkward part is you're not picking Danny or your sister. So.
We got it. Look, I'm just going to tell you guys right now. You got to be prepared to cut ties with a lot of people you're close with. You can only take 3 people, and they might not all be the best people to help you survive. That's not a slight. We're just not in a zombie apocalypse a lot, so we're not training for this. You got to find the people that you think are the most organically useful in
You're
your
not
world.
training.
This is where my the fact that I never listen to anybody when they're talking about themselves and I just zone out will come back to bite me in the ass because I don't even know who in my world would be good enough to go on this with me. I might make the wrong
Low
choices.
Hornbuckle.
Low would be
Low
good.
would
Harvey
definitely.
would be good. Harvey's also got a lot of experience and weaponry as well. These are all people that have a lot of resources. Like,
I think I'd have to just set up a fight and see who's like. I'm going to pick the winner of that fight, and then the rest are technician people.
technician people.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that I don't know. I would find.
Ever seen our sister with a Yelp review?
You know,
wanna go read some of
I'm not
Kelly's
sure the
Yelp.
Yelp reviews work during the zombie. I don't think the zombies care on the Yelp.
Kelly
reviews.
Kelly goes
Yeah.
on Yelp and like 0 out of 5 stars. Zombies would not recommend.
Yeah.
I don't think
Zombies are like fuck that.
I definitely wouldn't just choose some dude who can fight because you can't fight zombies.
You ain't fighting nobody out there.
I've seen the movies. They fight zombies all the time.
Punch him in the face.
Yeah. And when they have to hold them back from them biting them.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, you just
You're
duct
not-
tape newspapers to
Yes.
your arm like Brad
Yeah,
Pitt did.
Exactly.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Easy,
dude, you're
guys.
not prepared for this.
That's
Obviously,
right.
I'm not picking Brian. He's out.
I don't like I just said you were very I including myself. I would
No.
not pick myself if I had a choice.
Brian would just invite people over to his place.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you guys wanna come
honestly,
hang out?
that might be the reality. I might just pick the 3 people. Like it might just be you guys. It might just be the 3 dudes like hanging out a lot. Because I'm just gonna be honest. The world has changed. I might just succumb to this.
I might
Let's
not
just-
want to live in this grand.
Let's
new
just
world.
watch college football until they cancel that, and then just be done with it.
Oh boy.
All right, go support Mortgage Mike of Texas.com because he loves college football. That's it reminded me of that because
Yeah.
that's about to start.
Are you
Isn't
going
it?
to do his house on Saturday?
No,
Oh, you said that with such a no.
no, because
I would
he
never.
goes crazy for college football. It's not. It's
I don't have
dumb.
that much energy for
Neither
it.
do I. It's
I hope
dumb.
he's wearing a pair of Longhorns when I get there. Like,
He's got the foam fingers out. He will, for sure. So Mortgage Mike of Texas.com. Go support Mortgage Mike. He's licensed here in Texas and in Oklahoma, as well as Dana Wynn over at Homeward DFW, the best property management company here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as well as Theron Smith, who needs that one last warranty today.
we got 1 hour.
Get him in that warranty today so he can have a record-breaking month. So that he can, so that his wife will celebrate with him.
Ooh,
Yeah.
sexy.
So armadillo.1/tour.
All right, boys. I got another fantasy football draft to do in about an hour and a half.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, awful.
It's probably going to be pretty bad. I'm not great at fantasy. You would think for playing for 20 years, I would have won. I've never won.
I drafted 6 players I had never heard of yesterday.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I don't even know who I have.
All right.
Auto draft.
He did auto draft. All right, let's go.
Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group we're being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one. And then go to that one. Thanks.